Welcome to a horror block, where we are playing horror games for Prevent-A-Thon. I am putting on a very terrible accent in order to welcome you back. Prevent-A-Thon is to support charities. Canadian charity known as Little Warriors, where they are a national charitable organization focused on the awareness, prevention, and treatment of childhood sexual abuse. They also advocate on behalf of and with childhood sexual abuse survivors. For more information, visit littlewarriors.ca. Don't let the spooky things get... You know what? I'm going to just drop it. It's not really worth it. It was terrible, and I'm so sorry for that. But I do hope that you will visit littlewarriors.ca for more information, and that you'll help us support them by donating. Right. So I just also wanted to make sure that all the polls that were redeemed, all incentives that were redeemed for Resident Evil 3 has been the Jill costume has been redeemed for Star's uniform, and for Carlos's hair, it will be the classic. Fortunately, we did not achieve. We did achieve a skeleton costume for our VTuber, who will, if I may say, please introduce yourself.
Hello. I am Big Scared.
Yes. Big Scared. Definitely not scared of introducing themselves.
Hello. I am Big Scared. I'm a queer writer-caster here on Twitch. I play games, and I'm really excited to show off one of my favorites here for y'all today. Thank you so much for contributing towards the costume incentives, not only for the in-game models, but also for myself. This is a no intro run of the game, so we're going to be starting from a save that I have loaded right here in the subway. So time will start when I unpause.
I don't know if it was just me, but I didn't hear you until just that sentence.
Oh.
So if you don't mind, just redoing your introduction for all of us.
Okay, I'm being told that the stream can hear me. So time will start.
It was just me. I'm so sorry.
All good. I appreciate you. Time will start when we unpause. So I'm gonna do that in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Since this is New Game Plus, I'm gonna bring in all of these items. I have an infinite launcher. I have every item that I'll need. I've also got a bunch of coins, which will help me with damage boosting, with things like health regeneration, with ammo effectiveness. I didn't grab the ammo effectiveness one because really a rocket launcher is already pretty effective. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with Resident Evil 3, this is the story of Jill Valentine on her last day in Raccoon City. She is on forced leave from her job as a police officer because of the mansion incident where she discovered that zombies are real and they are everywhere. And of course, in true survival horror fashion, they are also here in the city. And so it is our job not only to survive, but to deal with that viral outbreak as best as we can as a protector of the peace. So right now, I am navigating the city streets. I'm using effective dodge rolling, and my specific task is to get a hose with which to put out a fire on the opposite side of town. You'll notice in this part of the game that I'm doing a little bit of back and forth. And so I'll be running back and forth specifically between this building and the subway station a couple times. Whoa! Okay, we're good. Don't touch me. Nobody touch me. Oh! Now, you might think that being bit is a bad thing, but there's a surprising twist to Resident Evil games and feminine body types, particularly the ones that are made in Resident Evil Engine, which are the more modern games. If you are playing as Jill, or Claire, or even Rosemary Winters in Resident Evil 8, generally you are going to move slightly faster if you have sustained some damage. It is notorious that Jill and Claire run faster in caution than they do at full health. Also, never mind the fact that that man completely disappeared the second he went out that door. Okay, this is your warning. Folks in chat, if you do not like bugs, maybe look away for about 5 minutes, because we're about to enter the gnarliest bug nest I've ever seen. And it can perhaps be a little troubling if you're averse to that sort of thing. So please take care of yourselves.
Oh, it smells like... Oh, I don't even want to think about it.
All right, so what happened here is we are being exposed to parasitic infection. So not only are there zombies, there are other sorts of creatures that can and do show up in these games. So I mentioned that bugs are one of them. We just saw one. These are known as brain suckers for the obvious reason of they grab you by the face and do things to your face. But there are other creatures too that we will meet. There are 2 different types of hunters that are very cool. And then there's the Nemesis himself, and he's a very special boy. We'll see him when we're done here. Now, while I'm running around flipping switches, is there anything you'd like to share with the chat, Tango? Are there donations or announcements you'd like to make? Got grabbed, that's okay. And we're gonna have to deal with this one too. Now, the issue here is if you get grabbed by these insects and you get hit with a parasite, it forces Jill to start walking and she's unable to run again. So you might notice that I took a green herb when I walked in here to get rid of the first parasite that was scripted. I grabbed a second one for insurance just in case, and we are lucky enough that we will not need it. And that's the nest. If you don't like bugs, you can look back. It's over.
This is the main power switch.
Sorry about that. It turns out that push to talk got enabled, and I didn't have a button set for that.
Beautiful. You got any donations or announcements?
Nice going.
Right now, looks like no one, because I'm guessing because there's no incentives, no one was really willing to think about contributing toward that bit.
You don't even know what building?
But I did want to ask. I did want to ask about how quick that lockpicking went earlier. Like it was like watching McNally official.
Well, Jill
Smash
is
that
the
lock
master
open.
of unlocking. And so unlike most games, there is no, like, mini-game for lockpicking. It's simply use the object that is the lockpick on the lock itself.
Oh, I have been corrected. There is an incentive left. It is for the viewfinder category upgrade to 100%.
Phenomenal.
That will be a fun thing to
Thing is
watch.
still alive.
Yeah.
It's after me.
Make sure you get those donos in, folks. I would love to see that happen. Viewfinder is a really cool run. Alright, lap 1 is done. Continue.
Oh no, I was just saying that personally. I was like, I saw that game. It's like, oh, it'll be great. It'll be like playing. What was that game? It was there were some other games where it's based on your point of view and matching things, perspectives.
Reminds me a lot of Superliminal, but like in a different font.
Ah, yes, that was it. Oh man. And, admittedly, like, you know, Superliminal, they were going for that kind of Stanley Parable / Portal kind of vibe for it, but I think they managed that weird doctor vibe pretty well.
The train is stopped at Redstone Street. We need to reach Fox Park Station.
So what we're doing here is we have to route the appropriate route in the subway system. It is always the same, so don't panic. Once you know what to input here, it will always be consistent for you. The problem here is that if you cycle inputs too quickly, you will have to go back around. So you noticed on the first one when I was supposed to put in FA, I accidentally clicked past it and had to go all the way around because I was inputting just a little too quickly. Alright, we're about to meet the Nemesis, so if you've never seen him, he's a special boy. Which I don't know why you wouldn't have seen him. He did burst through a wall at us at like the Kool-Aid Man, but this is where he's officially introduced to us. The interesting thing about the Nemesis is that for this version of the game, because this is a remake, they changed him a little bit to be more in line with what the future installations in the franchise have set up. And so not only is Nemesis like infected with T-virus, he has a Plagas infestation as well, which is what's going on in Resident Evil 4. And if you're wondering, wow, there's so many infections, how many are there? There are so many. Because this is the Biohazard franchise. Localized to the English-speaking audiences, it was changed to Resident Evil because they thought the mansion would be the focus of the franchise, but they were perhaps a little misguided to put the emphasis there. They should have put it more on infection and like the ways that that could play out. That being said, we are being chased. Go ahead.
I do have to wonder what happened to the CDC in this universe.
Oh, so there is like a whole alternate reality timeline for Resident Evil where the CDC doesn't quite exist, but there are government agencies that are specifically to combat bioterror. They have really cool names like TerraSave and Veltro. The long and the short of pretty much every group that's trying to combat bioterror in these types of games is that, plot twist, they are also doing the bioterror. And so, really, everyone is the good guy and the bad guy simultaneously. In this game, Umbrella Incorporated, the pharmaceutical company, is the major big bad. They're the ones making bioweapons. But at other points in the franchise, they're the ones doing the cleanup and, like, dispersal of bioweapons. And so they're the good guys while other companies have become the bad guys, which is really interesting dynamics to lay out over time. I mentioned other critters. This is a Hunter Gamma. This is what happens when frogs become mutated and experimented on. These things can eat you in one bite. It's a one shot. They just chomp on you. And it is horrifying every single time. But with infinite rockets, we make quick work of them. No big deal.
I'm curious, is there splash damage, and can you get caught up in it?
Yes, there is splash damage, and yes, I can get caught up in it, but not in the way you think. So, when Jill gets hit with her own splash damage, it does a small stun animation. You don't take any damage from it, but you see how she puts up her arms there to block from the fire? When I blast the rocket a little too close, that happens every time. So ideally, when you're using things like grenades or rockets in this game, you want to aim a little further away so that way she doesn't get stunned, but you still do the damage you want. You'll also notice in my boss fights with Nemesis that I abuse the splash damage because he dodges things very easily. But if you shoot at the feet around him, like if you shoot at the ground around his feet, he still takes all that damage.
Clearly, he should be jumping and taking advantage of that to rocket jump.
He should! He's a tall enough person. I bet he jumps really high when he tries.
I've forgotten about how slowly doors can open in this game, in this series.
Yes, the series that invented the epic door loading screen. And I think it's really fun that they incorporated some of those really long door loads in these modern games that don't need them the same way. Just because it's like a... I don't know if pastiche is the right word, but it's like a common thing for these games.
Callback, a
Carlos, can
trope.
you hear me now?
Yeah! It's a recurring theme.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm alive.
You might notice
Awesome.
that I'm not skipping these dialogues.
So we're ready to go.
On a casual playthrough, maybe you discover that you can skip these. But the reason why I'm not is because when you're in the walking cutscenes, the in-game timer gets paused. And so Jill can continue moving forward to get free distance without the timer recognizing it. Which is really, really important. This game is measured in game time. And because it's the no intro category, we're going to subtract the 5 minutes 42 seconds that we had at the start from whatever we get at the end. And so every moment that we can save, including all these walking cutscenes, become really pivotal. We are climbing a building that will slowly catch on fire as we climb it. But while we do that, is there anything you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, we are still waiting on additional donations to come in because we all care. But again, Prevent-A-Thon, this run of Resident Evil has been done in support of Prevent-A-Thon, which is a charity marathon. Charity speedrunning marathon in support of Little Warriors, a national charitable organization, Canadian organization, focused on the awareness, prevention, and treatment of childhood sexual abuse. They also advocate on behalf of and with childhood sexual abuse survivors. If you'd like more information, you can visit littlewarriors.ca. If you want the same blurb in text form, you can always type !info or !charity into chat. If you'd like to donate, you can always type in !donate to get a link to the donation. And again, we do still have incentives left. There's the one for Viewfinder for 100%.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So this is our first boss fight with Nemesis. In a casual setting, this is a very stressful fight because you have to use your pistol to precisely explode the flamethrower on his back. But because we have the rocket launcher, we really just shoot at his feet until he dies, and that's the fight. He will still dodge.
Carlos, it's
Well-
Jill. Do you read me?
It's a little bit more complicated than that, but the fight will end.
Yeah.
And we will meet a bigger and badder version of Nemesis next time we see him.
What were you thinking?
Again, another walking cutscene. You can skip this to save actual time. Like, if you want to move faster, you can skip this. But again, we want the free time save on our in-game timer, so we're just going to skip it the second we get to the fire truck. Because
So
there is
how-
more conversation.
So how was this category defined? Like, you would think that having infinite ammo seems like a weird thing to add to a speedrun.
So there's many categories for the more popular Resident Evil games. This is one that is very popular to speedrun. It's also very competitive when you're not playing New Game Plus. This particular run, not a super competitive board because it's the skipped intro and infinite weapons. A lot of the more competitive runners don't see this as a skill-based category, and so that's not really where the action is. In other categories for this game, for example, the regular any percent, there's like 400 runners as opposed to the 26 on this individual board. And so I think when it comes to this franchise in particular, there's a type of run that speaks to a wide variety of gamers, right? There's challenge runs that are like pistol only, or knife only, or like no rockets, or no grenades, or I want to do insert my favorite weapon, but like I don't want to play the intro over and over. And so there are variations of the run for all of those things. Which I think that's really cool. Ooh! He hit me with the wombo! Bro! Leave me alone. I'm just a little guy. It's my first day of work.
I thought it was your last day of work.
It's my first and last day of work. I'm on administrative leave. Leave me alone.
I'm sure there are comments I can make about administrative leave, but we'll leave that to some other time.
Yeah.
I'm just, wait, so Mr. X has been upgraded with a laser sight.
Yes. Because we destroyed his flamethrower, the Nemesis now has a rocket launcher with a laser sight, and he is precision scoping us with rockets. It is comedically over the top how overpowered this man gets every time we see him, because this is only his second form. We're gonna fight him, I want to say 5 times throughout the run, and each time he gets
Fantasy boss.
He gets more and more absurdly overpowered. Now, if you're wondering whether that that head up there is going to be dangerous, the answer is yes. We gotta run away like Indiana Jones for a second. Gotta scratch my back with the rocket launcher. Okay, we can go now. If you get too close to the toy uncle's head while it's rolling down the stairs, it will absolutely smash you. And it's a very comedic cutscene, but for marathon safety, we can't get that close.
I see.
Here's Carlos, the love of my life, looking like John Cena. Thank you, chat, for enabling this. And also, how dare you for enabling this. Look at this man. He's beautiful.
Carlos, I know we didn't get off to a great start, but thanks for the save.
Hey, you saved my ass first. You're a hell of a lot braver than me.
Alright, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the story,
What matters is that we can
Carlos
get
here
everyone
works for
else
UBCS, the Umbrella Biochemical the something service. They're essentially a group of mercenaries that Umbrella has sent into the city to clean up their mess. Carlos is one of very few members of the team that don't really know what's going on. He's kind of a regular guy, and so he assumes that Umbrella is not the bad guy TM. He assumes that he's just here to help, and that there's nothing really to clean up or, like, do damage. What's the word I'm looking for? Damage control over. And so he's very, like, well-intentioned in this scenario.
He's a believer, a company man.
He's also just very head empty, and so he's just kind of doing what he's told.
This is the police station.
Now, in the cutscene series of cutscenes we skipped, the train that Jill got on exploded because Nemesis showed up and exploded it. But in the meantime, we get to play as Carlos while we look for a doctor who could maybe solve this situation. It's a very special doctor. He's not a very nice man, but we have to find him because he knows things. And our head is so empty that we're just looking for anyone that knows things right now.
Where'd that cop go?
Don't know, don't care. We got a job to do.
Once again, we've got to set Carlos up with his New Game Plus items, all the coins and the rocket launcher. He, unfortunately, does not know how to use lockpicks or a bolt cutter, so he doesn't get to use them.
Take him into custody.
Wow, he's so law-abiding.
This was a rescue.
His head is so empty, gamer.
Carlos, take a look at this. I've located the STARS office.
And yes, I do have to stand here because we have to wait for this cutscene before the door opens. If we move too far away from Tyrell while he's at this computer, he will yell at us to come back.
Find and detain.
And he will not progress. So you gotta stand next to him until this screen pops up, and then you can vamoose.
I'll open the shutter so you can get through. You stay here and
I
find
guess
out
that's
what's
just
been
the
going on
poor
here at
quality of the
station.
HDD.
Call you if I find anything.
He's got to make sure we see this beautiful 480p screen.
You too, man.
480p.
Okay, 230.
What the hell
I'm
was
not
that
sure.
thing?
Not sure that would have. I'm not sure it would have been that.
Okay, all 1 pixel.
Okay, that's a little too old.
Nah, I think it's perfect. So, I mentioned that there are a wide variety of runs for this game. This Carlos segment, if you are not using the grenade launcher, is ridiculous.
There's something really
There is something that is referred to as the YOLO Carlos room, and it will become very apparent what I mean there. But this room is also very spicy if you don't have the rocket launcher.
I just realized this is the police station from RE1?
From Resi 2.
Copy that.
2, from 2. Sorry.
It's the exact same map layout. All of the combinations are the same, so if you've played Resident Evil 2 Remake and you're like, I want to loot these lockers, you can. All the combos are the same.
Wow, continuity.
And this segment actually provides answers for some of the things that people were wondering in Resident Evil 2 Remake. So what we're doing right now specifically is we are trying to get a battery for a detonator that is upstairs to blow a hole in a wall, which a lot of folks assumed was created by Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, but this game confirms it was actually done by Carlos.
I'm concerned that these police lockers are so easy to open.
You know, when you lock the door to the evidence room, maybe you don't think too hard about how the evidence itself is locked, and maybe that's a problem.
Carlos, I've hit a dead end with the terminal here. Gotta head your way.
Alright, we've got our detonator, we've got our battery. Pop that in. Here's the first of the 2 YOLO rooms. In a casual playthrough, this room is packed so full with so many zombies that it is harrowing. But 2 bazooka shots plus the 1 to the liquor, we're good. And
That was quick.
And that's our first Carlos segment. We'll come back to him later on, don't worry. In the meantime, we do have to check in with Jill because she did get exploded on a train. Don't forget that, gamers.
I hear that's unhealthy.
You know, she came out perfectly unscathed, so I think it's fine. Only some mild bruising.
Should we trust Jill for medical advice?
I would not. Jill canonically has
Carlos?
some
Come in.
peripheral
Carlos?
health benefits from being infected multiple times and then receiving various antidotes and vaccines for it. She has notably slower aging than every other mainline Resident Evil protagonist. She has a higher health recovery rate, and her reflexes are more effective than others. So for me, she's like 1 rung below Wesker on the superhuman scale, right? Like Wesker, he's out there. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. Jill, she's like right there beneath him. She's also got a lot going on.
I mean, I guess she's jogging along with like what looks to be like a 20-pound grenade launcher, just jogging.
Oh, that has to be more than 20 pounds. That has to be like a 50-pound rocket launcher. By the way, Nemesis is back, and he looks like this now. But that's okay.
He's gained some weight.
Yeah, he's been having that great protein. He's working on his gains, and that was the fight.
Come on, you're gonna crap out on me now?
What would you normally be fighting him with?
Normally, this is a gimmick fight where they force you to use a grenade launcher with sticky mines. And so Nemesis would be doing zoomies, he would be running along the rooftops of the arena around you, and you would have to knock him down to fight him.
Be okay. I promise.
But, you know,
Tyrell.
couple
where's Bart
rockets,
now?
no big deal. Now we're back as Carlos because, plot twist, Jill got infected again. I know. What a shocker. But we have to find another serum to help her. And so Carlos is here at the hospital doing that thing. Much like the Raccoon City overworld segment where we were outdoors, this is a lot of like going back and forth between 2 and 3 specific sections of the hospital. We're going to need to go upstairs to get a key and a key card and then come back down here with a cassette tape later on. It's a lot of just back and forth. So if there's anything that you would like to share with the audience, now is a phenomenal time to do that.
I am concerned about the lack of security at this hospital. Like even taking into account this is zombie infested, there just doesn't seem to be enough security desks.
You know, I think you will be pleasantly surprised with the security desk we see at the end of this segment. It is the pinnacle of customer service work, in my opinion.
But, moving away from that, I do want to push the incentive that of the viewfinder 100%. It would be fantastic to see it it would be fantastic to see it perform to 100%, and we still have that incentive available for any donations that come in.
Thank you.
I can words good.
Listen, it takes a lot of brain to make words go good, and you're doing phenomenal.
Why, thank you. You're doing more phenomenally.
Wow. Imagine, in this economy, a bunch of people doing great things together, like raising money for Little Warriors.
Little Warriors? Did you mean that charitable organization based in Canada that is advocating and working with childhood sexual abuse survivors? Amazing.
You know who isn't working with survivors? This Hunter Beta. This is a very angry boy, and in a casual setting, they are very difficult to work with. They have an armor-plated face that you have to, like, blow off using a lot of ammo. And then once you do that, you can attack the soft spot underneath, like you would a crab bake. But with rockets, not a big deal. We are through.
Just attacking weak points for massive damage, huh?
Now, this room has 2 of those in them. This is another YOLO room in the no rocket launcher run, because you essentially have to go in here and fight this one, while the other one over here bum rushes you.
I think you just ambushed him.
I just bullied them. We've got our cassette tape, which was the whole reason we were running around in this hospital. Because the first room we were in downstairs has a vocal lock on it. And I mentioned there was a very unsavory doctor here that we're looking for. We're gonna hear from him. He's gonna say some bad words. He's gonna do a little cussing, so I'm gonna do my best to censor that for you, okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for protecting my wholesome ears that have definitely never heard any curse words or anything like that in any case.
Yeah, we're gonna make this very mature game family friendly, okay? Here's how we do it. You don't hear the naughty words. Okay, we're through. Here's the lovely man. Got exactly what he deserved. No, he's no longer alive.
Bard's dead.
I have to say, this hospital's got a contamination problem.
Yeah, they need to take their custodial duties a little bit more seriously, because this is a mess. But now that we're here, we've got our purple injection for Jill. That means she's gonna be safe.
I got it.
Good. I'm headed your way.
Be careful.
Purple doesn't look safe.
Listen, all the good medicines are purple flavor. Why wouldn't the purple injection also be good for you?
Did you have Dimetap too?
I did.
Oh man, grape flavor's the best.
Don't smack me! Oh, I got so lucky there.
Oh wow.
Don't smack me. Okay, perfect.
You're gonna be okay, Jill.
All right, let's give her Dimetap. She's gonna be fine.
Great flavor.
Better
All
grab
right.
some gear.
I mentioned there's going to be some great customer service. It's because Carlos here just got a day job.
Now
Have you
the
ever
question.
worked a desk before?
Yeah. That's it's a weird thing for you to ask because actually yes.
How realistic on a scale of 1 to 10 is this customer service scenario that we're in right here?
I am gonna say it depends on the day, but I'm gonna say it ranges from about 5 to 8.
Yeah, this is just what it's like to work at CVS on the weekends. Everyone crawling in after the local insert sports game to get their chips and their dips.
Well, at least we're not trying to be open on the night of the game, where it's like we're not a liquor store that's open on the night of the game. We're just like they're hopped up right after the game.
That's true. We don't have to deal with any of that. But we do. Here, let me show you what we do have. We have drug information and instructions on how to clean your hands. So I feel like we are very informed here.
Important. That washing hands is important. You'd be surprised at how many people apparently still don't.
And then we've also got some Safsprin, which is for kids apparently.
Everything's for kids if you really don't care about them enough.
Or maybe if you do, you know, sometimes the kids need a little boost too. And that's why we're all here today, right?
I have no follow-up. I have no comeback for that one. I mean, look, if Carlos could be patient and just take out every single zombie coming in, we can always have people donate for incentives in Viewfinder, such as finding all 21 camera filters, by collecting all collectibles, completing every optional level, and playing the Tamagotchi game.
Tamagotchi? I love Tamagotchi. So as we can see, we have a couple spicy friends coming through. If these zombies were allowed to live long enough, some of them would have special, like, tentacle powers, because they have parasites on their heads. But, again, we're just obliterating them.
Man, they're just ripping off The Last of Us. Definitely not the actual cordyceps fungi, you know, and ants.
Last of Us? These are the Sum of Us. Yes, the Sum of Us.
Yes, Last of Us definitely didn't rip these guys off, or the real life version of these. Definitely not. No one was inspired by anyone.
We do my routine inspection.
Almost got it.
We gotta get our steps in.
How many steps are you at, Carlos?
You know, he's trying to get to 10,000 a day, but it's an uphill battle.
And not a medical one. That was a terrible segue. I could have done better, but I couldn't. I feel like a medical failure.
You know,
Because I didn't go to
fulfilling
medical
life
school.
comes from good health, and you're doing your best.
I did not go to medical school. Did you just try to blow up a poster?
No, I shot at the poster because they were there.
Oh, okay. Splash damage.
Splash damage. It's my #1 weapon.
That sounds like something what the soldier would say from Team Fortress.
Ooh, that's true. All right, we are at the final section of this siege level, where we simply need to survive.
I'm on it.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
Now, I hope everyone out there who works customer service or retail or other desk jobs gets as much validation and fulfillment as Carlos is in this moment.
I thought Carlos was a company man and he loved working for his company.
He does. He obviously works for HR.
I can see why that would mean he loves working for his company.
All right, Carlos is done. That's all we got from him for the whole game.
Goodbye,
He will still be
Carlos.
around, but we're done playing as him. You know why? Because Jill's better. She slept it off, and it's been 3 days.
Whoa, is she Jesus?
No, she's just very eepy. You ever just been eepy before, gamer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You ever get a little sick, have a stomach hurty, and just get really eepy about it? Because that's what happened to Jill.
Yes.
And now we are heading into our contractually obligated factory segment, because in the pantheon of horror cliches, this one definitely has all of them. We had a sewer segment, we had a hospital segment, now we've got our factory segment. There will be a laboratory after this. Really, the only thing that's missing from this version of Resident Evil 3 is a mansion proper. In the original version, there was a mansion. It was part of the clock tower. But because they reimagined that fight so drastically from its previous iteration, we don't get like a mansion moment in this one.
Oh man, we don't get to ruin a rich man's house?
We do, just not in the way you think.
Oh, okay. As long as, it's a rich man's house. Rise of the
Nodding in
proletariat.
agreement. Nodding in agreement with you.
It's the proletariat. Oh, she could have rolled that out. Come on.
She could have. There are so many moments. Come on, the inputs on the hitboxes are so silly in this segment, because if you don't come at it exactly the right angle, what happened there happens, where she'll just sort of swim around it, and it won't actually trigger what you need. So this is a pale head. It is this game's version of a regenerator. If you're shooting normal ammo at it, you're gonna need to shoot like 3 times as many bullets, because it will simply tank the damage and continue coming at you. But of course, it's not immune to rockets, and it will get laid out pretty easily if it takes one.
It's rare to find something that's immune to rockets.
You know, it is shockingly more common than you think sometimes.
Okay, but that's in Biohazard. Oh, it's a doggy.
Yeah. So because this is an umbrella factory, it has a little bit of everything in here. It's got zombies and dogs and both types of hunters. The only thing that's really missing from the pantheon of enemies in this game are the lickers.
Yeah,
And
I think
I'm-
Umbrella might have a... Sorry, you're...
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just thinking the Umbrella might have a control, what was it, area control issue. It's like, you figure, if you're running a factory, you better have better guidelines in place to make sure these things don't happen.
You would think that they would have more intense safety protocols, especially since the mansion incident was like months before this in the timeline. But here we are, motion activated opening of these boxes with all your beautiful bioweapons inside of them. Like, why? But realistically, the answer to the why here is the elephant in the room. And no, I'm not talking about a literal elephant. I'm talking about the actual big bad of this game. I mentioned that Umbrella is the broad
Capitalism?
big bad. Capitalism is the enemy. Yes, you nailed it on the head. Because our nemesis, so to speak, is not actually the nemesis. Our nemesis in this game is a man named Nikolai, who is a member of the UBCS. He's Carlos's commander, and he's currently doing his best to use us as combat data because he wants to sell it to the highest bidder. And so the reason why all these monsters keep escaping their captivity, The reason why the hospital security is so low, the reason why we keep getting into so many fights with Nemesis is because of that man. And we are currently on our way to deal with him as best as we can.
You know, Eisenhower warned us against the military-industrial complex. And so has, to be honest, so has Tempest Mark 1000 with a donation of $5.20 in Canadian. Warning, missile attack confirmed. Warning, missile attack confirmed. Emergency level D. All personnel evacuate immediately.
Shit.
And
That was beautiful.
they wish the best of luck, Big Scared, and thanks again to Prevent-A-Thon for having me and everyone for today's schedule.
Thank you so much. Alright, Tyrell, I need you to open this door and not get stuck, buddy. This man sometimes gets stuck, which is
Asking for a lot.
problematic.
You're asking a lot of NPC.
I am. It is bold of me to request them not to get stuck on stuff. But the issue is if Tyrell gets stuck,
Got your back.
you can't progress because he needs to hit the end of this hallway in order to cue the cutscene. And the reason why he needs to hit the end of the hallway is because that's where Tyrell dies. So if you are feeling kind and generous, put an F in chat for him. He did nothing to deserve that. He was just a nice man. And we're here in our obligatory laboratory segment where I need to get a flash drive that has a password on it to open a door that is very securely locked with USB protection downstairs. Don't ask me how the USB drive unlocks a door. I don't understand it, but it's gonna.
I actually can.
Oh.
Well, it also, because of the ubiquity encryption keys are available, the main issue is that they don't have a passcode to kind of confirm the fact that you are the designated user of the encrypted key.
Yeah, it's literally just insert, and it was stored upstairs, so it's not even being stored somewhere safe.
Like the typical actual security method of using it would be to have that key, the USB key, plus the password from, someone knows the password. But it's a video game.
Yeah.
I might be able to use this.
All right, we're gathering 2 pieces of viral research to create our own vaccine. Because, plot twist, the only vaccine that existed anywhere for this thing that's going on was given to Jill. She's the only one that got it. And so now we need to make more, so that way, hopefully, if this spreads, we can actually try to stop that. And to do that, we need 2 pieces of vaccine synthesis materials, and then we're gonna do the hardest puzzle in all of Resident Evil. I hope you're ready for it when the time
This
comes.
must be what powers it.
Will you just blow it up with a grenade?
No, I wish it were that simple. But before I can get over there, we do have to go get the other piece of vaccine stuff. So if there's anything you'd like to share with the audience while we go do that, now's a fantastic time.
There has not been any additional donations since Tempest's. We still have the donations open for the incentives for 100% on Viewfinder. Remember, Tamagotchi game it will include playing of the Tamagotchi game. Yeah, you want that. But to reiterate the point of this speedrun marathon, it's for charity. Little Warriors is a Canadian charitable organization focused on awareness, prevention, and treatment of childhood sexual abuse. They also advocate on behalf of and with childhood sexual abuse survivors. For more information, visit littlewarriors.ca. If you'd like the same information in text form, you can always type in !info or !charity into the chat, and I'll give you a little bit of the same blurb. If you'd like to donate, you can always type in !donate, and it'll give you a donation link, so you can go ahead and send over a little bit of that donation over to the Warriors. Because it is in Canadian, there will be a conversion. I believe it's something roughly 73 cents US to $1 Canadian, and something like $1 UK pounds to one UK pound to about $1.67 Canadian. So, you know, your money will go further because we are doing this charity in Canadian dollars.
Beautiful, thank you. And we are approaching the hardest puzzle in this game. I hope you're ready. This is going to take all of my brain power. I don't know if I'll be able to do this in the marathon setting. It's so difficult. Oh no! I fumbled that. I was actually trying to make a joke there and I fumbled.
Got this wrong. I'm missing a step.
This puzzle is not super hard. You combine the two pieces and then, oh, hardest puzzle ever.
My actual concern is Umbrella seems very incompetent. They're very competent at failing.
You know, when failure is your brand, lean into it.
Okay,
So
what
what's
happened during
happening
that
right
cutscene
now?
that we see?
Yeah,
Exact question.
during the cutscene that we missed, Nemesis literally burst through a wall, because he isn't dead yet.
Name is this?
And what happened
Would you
was
love him if you were a worm?
Oh, he is a worm, though. He's got worms all inside of him. But he burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man to come fight us again. As you can see, he has a tentacle arm this time. This fight is supposed to go, he runs around, does the zoomies like he does at the clock tower, except he will periodically hide behind these drums. And in a normal setting, you would shoot the red lights on the drums, it would electrocute him and he would fall down. But because we have the rocket launcher, we just shoot him a couple times.
I
Now,
have to get that vaccine.
you might think, based on the formula that's set up, that we're gonna have a few minutes before the next time we fight Nemesis. You are wrong, because this room is also a fight with Nemesis. This is the final time we will fight Nemesis. He's even bigger and even grosser than before. And all we're gonna do is just use this big gun. Don't worry about it.
His mama must be proud.
Yeah, he grew up nice and strong. For those of you
she looks like
unfamiliar with the
Sigourney Weaver.
lore, yeah, that gun is called the Finger. Because what do you do when the tyrant acts up? You give him the finger. And yes, that's literally from a lore note in this game.
I was gonna say, it's like, give him the finger of God.
The way this fight works is you're supposed to stun Nemesis by popping the various
Pustules?
pustules. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. You have to pop the pustules on it and stun them into this position. If you do this fast enough, which I'm hoping we'll have done, we'll be able to push in all 3 of these batteries before he does anything to us. But on higher difficulties and in other settings, he will knock you off of that. I got a perfect dodge. We're gonna give him the finger.
Smooth. Get away from her.
Yeah, that's very much the energy. Surprisingly enough, this is not the final boss of the game. You might assume that this is the final boss of the game, and in normal survival horror settings, you would be right. But I want to remind you that the Nemesis is not our Nemesis. Our Nemesis is Nikolai, and we still have to deal with him. Now, we are approaching the end of the game here, so I will call time when it comes up. But before we get there, I want to remind you that at the start of this run, we emptied Jill's pockets. The only things that are in our pockets are 3 coins, 2 keys that no longer serve purposes, a bolt cutter, and a lockpick, and this rocket launcher that we've been carrying around this entire time. I want to emphasize that because when we meet Nikolai, Jill will do magic. Okay? She will do a magic trick.
Belief is a precursor to magic.
She's got a
right?
gun! And that's time.
Well,
that was the
I
final
believe in
boss
Jill.
of Resident Evil 3. It just pull out the magic gun that she wasn't holding anywhere and shoot Nikolai unceremoniously. Now,
Yep. Well,
because this is the no intro category, I do have to do a little bit of math to see what our actual categorical time is. And that is gonna be 47:17, which is a PB for me.
woo, nice.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's kind of a big deal.
And you did it in front of God and everyone.
Yeah, I had the power of Prevent-A-Thon and anime on my side. Okay?
Yeah. Not friendship, because friendship is overrated.
Definitely, definitely.
But, if people wanted to be your friends, how would they find you?
I live on Twitch as Big Scared, with no spaces. I live in other places on the internet as either Big Scared or I'm Big Scared, with no spaces or punctuation. And if you don't see a VTuber that looks like me, that means I'm not on the site.
Well, thank you. So that was the run of Resident Evil 3 with Infinite Rockets and no intro from Big Scared, her personal best even. And so, and on top of that, it is the end of my personal shift as a host. My name has been tengokujin. You can find me on Twitch as tengokujin, even though I upload absolutely nothing. And in fact, in most places you can find me as tengokujin, except on Twitter, where somebody else took that name, and I almost liked Elon's decision to kick people off of their names if they haven't tweeted in a while, but it just seems wrong. Anyway, I'm Kyojin on Twitter, and if you want to find me, don't find me, because I'm just don't find me. I retweet too much VTubers, especially Hololive. This has gone in a weird place. I'm just going to give you the blurb again for why we are having Prevent-A-Thon. Prevent-A-Thon, again, is a charity speedrun marathon for promoting Little Warriors, a charitable organization focused on the awareness, prevention, and treatment of childhood sexual abuse. They also advocate on behalf of and with childhood sexual abuse survivors. For more information, please visit littlewarriors.ca. And with that, I think we are going to go to break, unless anyone wants to, object and tell me no, we're going to do other things, which I kind of doubt, but there'll be other things afterwards. I see no objections.